Oh my God. This right here is my 240SX, and that's Matt. Hello. This car was so important to me over my entire life loving cars that I had it painted on my wall. A still image, as you can see. Very much like a 240SX that sits on jack stands way too long. But for years and years, as I built this car all the way back starting in 2015, I would get harassed in the comments section saying, well, David, what's this car for? Like, I don't understand. Why do you just want a cool car that looks pretty and makes cool noises? Well, that was my goal, just to have a street car with a really cool engine in it and just enjoy it. But I also did Sebring, Daytona, a half mile, and Las Vegas Motor Speedway in this car. So it did see some track time. Times have changed. This bad boy has not been driven in a very long time, mostly due to Matt, this savior of my 240 here, rewired the entire car. This car would never want to start. It always had problems, and it's very much getting a new life. But then Midnight Thoughts came in and I said, you know what? Let's make it truly a new life. This car was always the forbidden fruit for drifting. And being an S chassis, that's what everybody wanted me to do with it. But there was a few problems. One, I didn't even know how to drift back then. Two, the car I deemed too pretty to drift. Well, in my opinion. And three, I wasn't going to be running an event where you could compete in drifting, but it's not door to door. But I am. I'm actually going to be doing competitive drifting events where it's two mirrored courses and you're not hitting each other's door. So instead of turning this into a full 100% drift car, it's more so going to be a street car that I can drift when I want to. But some of you might be saying, don't you already have a Drift 240SX? Yes, I do. I'm a creature of bad habits. This Coyote 240SX is cool, but now we'll have a V8 one that's more purpose-built with a roll cage, and then the JZ one for those more casual events. Casual with a 600 horsepower JZ. And during the midnight hour, I thought to myself, okay, what is the best way to do this quickly, efficiently, and also have some quality parts? Well, during my midnight thoughts, I hit up GKtech, and I said I wanted to make this life-changing decision. They said, that sounds like an amazing idea. This car has been such a legacy with me all these years. It's gonna be really cool to see it have a second life in some way. I'd like to thank GKtech for sponsoring today's video. So here we have everything. Basically what I wanted to do with GKtech was to essentially show off a bunch of the really amazing parts, but also show the parts that somebody could buy without spending an absolute fortune on doing angle, handbrake, all that good stuff. So if you watch automotive YouTube, you're probably no stranger to drifting and stuff like that. But one of the biggest things for drifting, once you get to a little bit more of, say, an advanced level or intermediate level, is to add more steering angle. It is good to kind of learn on some shallow angle at first, but this is all I got right now. That's it. So basically, this is gonna be much more drastic by the time we're done with it. Also, I really wanna give a huge shout out to Officer Dan. He was my contact for GKtech. Thank you so much, Dan, and make sure to give him a follow on Instagram. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. And also, we did some announcing together for Donut Media's high-low contest, so that was pretty fun. Here is one of the steering angle arms by GKtech. This is going to be the thing to help us get more steering angle. So as soon as I said that I was doing a redo on the JZ240, all my friends got really excited and they're all starting to show up now. So say hi, Terrence.
What's up, YouTube?
Terrence is a very smart man, and at my event Cosmic Drift, we were like, hey, it would be really cool if we were all listening to the same music at the same time, because it's kind of a festival, fun drift event. Well, he was just like, it's fine, we can just make a radio station. He did that, pretty cool stuff. But what Terrence is doing right now is removing the control arms that have been on the car since 2015. It's gonna be really cool to see kind of the before and after effect of doing the angle kit on the front end. Also, another thing, Matt did these this morning, These are the Type X style lights, and what's hilarious is that they were never in this bumper ever, so it's just giant holes right here. Oh yeah, also, I replaced my headlights with Jeep headlights, and they actually fit perfectly. My original ones had a big crack down the middle, so replace these. Another thing GKtech supplied us with was a dual caliper bracket. Run a Willwood caliper separate from our emergency e-brake, or just rear caliper. That way, if I want to brake traction really easily, or just scrub some speed, it's gonna be even easier. With this, what we're doing with the GKtech handbrake is we're actually putting it on the passenger side. I typically put it on the driver's side, but we want to keep the factory e-brake. That way, I can just park the car if I want, still drive it on the street, all that kind of stuff without stressing about that.
We finally got everything in and mocked up a little bit. We're ignore the nuts that are currently loose. It's not spec. We had to get the extension in on here, so that way we could connect to the sway bar. These little spacers that are in here, I like the adjustability. You have kind of an offset on either side so you can cheat. We now figured out the offset needs to be to the inside of the car for your car. We also have the new spacers that are in there, the little crush washers. And I really have to say, I love the ability to adjust right here without having to actually take the car down. Like, we can just pop your wheel off.
Yeah, and
twist it right
there.
It's right there.
Probably.
Right there. All right, it's been, what, a couple days?
3 since we started?
Yes.
2 days.
2 days, but we took a day break.
Yes, we didn't work yesterday.
Austin, so far, how do you feel about it?
Pretty good. I'm excited to see this thing lock up the rear brakes.
Me too, and Trey, you might remember from Honda Civic Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you came and helped me with that wastegate.
Yep.
But Trey, you realized, and GKtech does say to do this, you need to cut the tie rods.
Yes.
So you basically make the measurement that you need, and then you cut them.
It's too long.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, in other words, it's too long, yes.
Well, they give you different sleeves, like different adjustment sleeves. So
Yes.
depending on what tie rod you're using, you can adjust for what sleeve you're using, and you can adjust for how much angle you need to, or steering angle
Yes.
you need,
And the good news is, it works now. So we're gonna show you how much angle this thing has, because it's ridiculous. All right, here it comes. Okay, it's done yet? No, it's not done yet. Oh, here it comes, even better. Oh my God. Woo! The brake caliper is facing me, and that's amazing. GKtech made a really, really awesome kit. I mean, this is incredible. We'll also put a tire on it just to really show how it looks sliding sideways, but that is serious,
yeah. A lot of
dude.
angle, dude.
There's a lot of angle, dude.
A little bit more than stock.
A little bit more stop. So what'd you say about this car to that car?
Oh, it's like he kind of built the perfect drift car, then decides to fight with this instead.
Oh yeah, so GKtech, I love you. So if you want to put a kit on this too,
Please, please, please. So on the GKtech website, if you look under the description of the install kit, it mentions you need to take your Willwood caliper and drill out the hole with a 10mm drill bit. Luckily, I have one of these. But yeah, if you're getting this kit, pick up a 10mm drill bit. Yeah, I'm having to wallow them out a little bit, but after that, they fit. They fit. But get a 10mm drill bit.
Okay, it's another day, Mr. Austin. E-brake is now in, fully works.
Yep.
Looks wonderful.
All that's bled.
Yeah, all that is bled. The clutch at first didn't want to bleed, but it's because the master cylinder was just completely clogged up over the years of sitting. So we had to replace that. And the angle kit is finally officially done, which we're going to show you just how drastic it is now.
Let's do a little spinny spin.
Here we go. Not yet, almost.
Still going. Still going.
Jeez, dude.
There we go. That's full lock.
Okay, so this is confusing, so stay with me. So these are the original wheels on Blue JZ. These are 18s, but the problem is the 18 with the 245 tire didn't fit in the factory fenders anymore because of the angle. So what I did was actually swap with the Coyote car. By doing that, we put the 18s of the Coyote car up front and in the rear because it has overs. But this is still stock body. So basically all my 17s that are for the coupe are now going to Blue JZ and doing a full swap, basically. I will say though, the Koenigs still look pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
I like the 17s on this a lot, actually. And now time for the really scary part, the dyno day. 5th time's the charm. So on 85 and 10 pounds of boost with the Garrett Gen 2 GTX, we made 460 wheel. So far, so good. Now we're gonna test out boost cut, see what happens. So this turbo is rated for 650 horsepower, but I've never had the weirdest turbo problem of all time, where a turbo is too good to put on the dyno. So basically what's happening is the car is spinning almost no matter what, which is cool in one way, but at the same time, even with these really sticky tires, Matt, like it's barbaric how it's spinning. We sat in the back. We've never seen anything like this. At 4,600 RPM, we're making 408 horsepower. Not even at the top of the rev range. We can't get it past this because it starts spinning. So now we keep adding weight and it's still not working. So what does that tell you?
We had 2 100-pound jacks. They're solid steel. They're like 3.5, 4-ton jacks. And then me, 200 pounds.
Then me, 140 pounds.
140 pounds.
And it still didn't matter.
Yeah, didn't help. Nice. Sounded like a freaking V8 for a split second. It's always game.
Dang. Is that the gate?
She rips. Yeah, that's the gate.
Dude, we have the coolest, useless torque band of all time. Like, I've barely gotten in it, and it's spinning forward. All right, it's event day. I'm super excited. Today's event that I'm hosting is actually kind of a dueling drifters format. So it's 1v1 of different drivers, but they're racing each other. Typically a drift day is you're tandeming, getting close, but I've always loved the idea of fast drifting, but in a race setting. That way spectators kind of know what's going on, because as you probably know, drifting is actually very hard to explain to average Joes. I hate to say it, but I already went out for like a little brake lap and I snapped an axle immediately. So my friend Austin from Maintenance Style Garage, go give him a follow, replaced the axle for me as I ran some errands for more power steering fluid and stuff like that. I was getting a little bit of binding in the wheel, but essentially this cause 1.5 weight diff that's inside this is extremely aggressive. So I think that's what did it, was I came off the clutch and boom. And these are factory axles, and I know that's dumb, but I've been waiting to do my 350Z conversion, but my fabricator just didn't have time to help me out with some of those bits. The dyno day went well, so now we're gonna go out and do a test run of the layout and then essentially see what the car can do. I have a feeling the gearing is going to be too long. Due to what GKtech did for me, I'm gonna be testing the handbrake that's right here, and also their angle kit. So that's primarily what I'm gonna be shaking down, and then once that's over, get into the other stuff. All right, let's do an e-brake first, see if she locks up. Boom, good. My brain is used to a naturally aspirated engine drifting, so this is definitely going to be a learning curve, but I'm also not trying to stop my axle again with a clutch kick, so I want to actually enjoy the car some. The car itself was running fine during my little shakedown. However, what I came to realize was that my front wheels, due to the added steering angle, were getting stuck. So at times you can kind of see me struggling with the steering wheel, and that is because it was binding. To the point that I couldn't even really do the course we laid out because it was too sharp of a turn. So I basically just focused on doing figure eights and donuts to shake the car down, but the binding kept happening. to less grippy tires, and that's what did it. So what I'm gonna have to do is not too complicated. Since I have the factory fenders up front and I really don't want to change them anytime soon because I think my car is pretty, I'm just gonna take the adjustability of the Fortunato coilovers, raise them up a little bit. We should be as good as new. The next thing is the gearing was unfortunately just way too tall. And there's something wrong with my rear diff as well. It's extraordinarily clunky and I think it needs to be readjusted. Combination of the really sticky tires I was trying out, plus the diff being so aggressive, I think is what snapped the axle. I'm going to be converting to a 350Z axle pretty soon, but for now, it was just an unfortunate situation. Amazing people and all this help and GKtech, not only did we finish the car for the event, we didn't even trailer it there. We drove it to the event, we did some testing, and I drove it home. And it was almost surreal every time I got back in this car. I finally get to drive my 10-year project as hard as I want. With some readjustment, I think this will be the perfect 240SX. Huge shout out to GKtech and once again, all my friends who helped out, and I truly appreciate every single one of you who stopped by. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.